So we live in strange times, and I feel like that might be an understatement. So unless you're George Orwell, you can't predict the future, but you can write it. And today I want to tell you all why you should and how to do it. My message today isn't meant for everyone. My message today is for those of you who are extremely ambitious, humble, arrogant, and contrarian. Y Combinator, which is the largest startup accelerator in the world, defines startups as a small, early-stage company built to grow fast. And that's a good definition, but it's not a complete one. Startups are all of that, plus they create radically new things. Spotify wasn't an incremental improvement over iTunes. It was a radically new way to listen to music, a way that redefined the entire music industry. Snapchat wasn't a new messaging system. It was a radically new way to communicate. So while I prepared for this talk, I came across a lot of blogs, videos, and essays that encourage people who are later in their careers to pursue their startup dreams. And that's fantastic because their experience and breadth of knowledge can be a huge advantage. But life is full of trade-offs, and entrepreneurship is no exception. The advantage of age is that you know your advantages. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. But funny enough, the contrary is the advantage of the young founder. And this likely leads to a better upside if you're successful in your execution. Your inexperience is an advantage because you view problems with fresh eyes. The young founder sees problems that the old founder has learned to ignore. The other advantage of youth and entrepreneurship is when it comes to risk tolerance. Your lack of resources and surplus of time positions you better to create radically new products through risk. And this is why the young startup founder tends to create products that radically improve on their predecessors versus the older startup founder, who creates products that are only marginal improvements. And for context, in 1994, only a year out of his studies of the University of Illinois, Mark Andreessen, who was then 22 years old, went on to co-found the Mosaic browser, later renamed Netscape, a browser that many today credit for popularizing the internet. He did that at 22. Bill Gates founded Microsoft at 19. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were 21 and 25 respectively when they co-founded Apple. Elon Musk was 24 when he co-founded his first company, Zip2. Evan Spiegel was 21 when he co-founded Snapchat, and the founding fathers of the United States were in their 20s when they signed the Declaration of Independence. So needless to say, I was a bit surprised when I found out that the average age of a startup founder today is 42. And it's not that people my age, or our age for the students here, lack creativity, and we definitely have the ideas to start these businesses. However, the crux of our species' extinction is fear. So as of this moment, I'm declaring that the species of the young startup founder to be, endangered. And I don't know exactly why, but I have a good guess it has a lot to do with cell phone. And from the conversations I've had with people around my age who have startup aspirations but can't seem to pull the trigger, I've noticed a trend. These individuals typically lack focus when it comes to their idea, paired with a crippling fear of failure. So what does that mean? It's a good question. Starting a startup is both an art and a science. The art part, which is fun to say, is that you're having a conversation with your market, your audience. You throw shit out there and you see what comes back. Or more appropriately for this setting, you put out a product and you see how your audience reacts to it. The science part is that startups are just individuals testing a hypothesis. And doing this successfully requires focus. Anything that's outside of the initial scope of your hypothesis is just introducing new variables that muddy the waters and keep you away from the answers you really need. There will always be another reason to not start your business. You can always find another reason to wait another year when you have more experience, money, or connections. But what will you regret when you're 80 years old looking back at your life? The excuses you make today will most likely kill your idea that could have become successful had you actually taken the leap to pursue it. The point of startup entrepreneurship is to fail. And the good news is that there's almost no entrepreneurs out there that got it right on the first try. The founders who are successful are the founders that pivot when they fail. Those that gave up or never tried in the first place are the ones that truly experienced failure. And I know this because Athlogic is at least my third attempt at starting a startup. My junior year, I only made it to the semifinals of the startup pitch competition, the InNOLEvation challenge, before I was eliminated. And if I'd conceded, I wouldn't be standing in front of you all today. But I took that loss and I built what brought me here today. And I'm happy to say that as of today, Athlogic is used by a quarter of all high school football teams worldwide to record play-by-play stats. The product that I put my entire livelihood and savings behind is changing the lives of thousands of young men and women worldwide, and it's beginning to redefine the entire sporting landscape. The easy thing to do after losing the InNOLEvation challenge would have been to quit. The easy thing for me to have done would have been to have stayed in corporate in a high-paying job. But that's not how you change the world. Entrepreneurship and startups are often painted to be something sexy in today's day. And that's doing a massive disservice to what is possibly the least sexy career there is. So I'll finish on this one thing. Jeff Bezos would start every one of his annual shareholder letters by proclaiming that today is day one at Amazon. And for me, that's no different. Today is day one for Athlogic, and tomorrow will be as well. And if there's one thing you take from this talk today, it's to make today day one for yourself, your business, and your vision of the future. Do the hard thing, do the things that matter, and get started now. Thank you.